Hello everyone. Welcome to the Business Talk podcast. I am your host Deepak. Today we have the privilege of hosting a distinguished professor Preeti Shroff, a leading global voice in the field, currently at Northwestern University's Medill School of Journalism, Media, Integrated Marketing Communication (IMC) at Evanston, Illinois, United States. Professor Shroff also serves as the Director of Executive Programs at Medill and is the Associate Editor of the Journal of Sustainable Marketing and Journal of Global Marketing. In this episode, Professor Shroff will dwell into a fascinating and timely research and practice topic, circular economy and sustainable marketing, strategic value creation insights. Professor Shroff, it's a true delight to have you on this podcast. We are thrilled and honored to have you with us today.
Thank you, Deepak Bhatt. Gujarati ma namaste. We just realized we are both Gujaratis, and I was at MICA, which is in Gujarat, Ahmedabad. So this is a great connect. I'm delighted to join your podcast. I think this is my first podcast. So
Oh,
thanks
wow.
for all the preparation that you did. It was a pleasure to work with you, and I'm very happy to share something that is not just about my research or teaching area. This is my life passion, Deepak.
Very
So,
nice.
sustainability and circular economy is something where I don't just teach, but I also preach and practice. So, it's about practice what you preach.
Right, right.
I'm very happy to be here. Would you like me to start the talk?
Yeah, absolutely. So let me ask you a first question.
Okay.
Professor Shroff, how would you define the circular economy in the context of today's global market? And what are
Sure.
the key principles that distinguish it from the traditional linear economy? And I would be happy if you can share some of your slides and research on this topic, on this question.
Yes. So, if you're fine with the slide, we'll
Sure.
continue.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, ma'am.
Um,
Sure.
so, Deepak, we live in a world where we have inherited the economic model, the production model from the industrial era. Now, what has happened is in the industrial era, we started extracting materials from nature, from earth, and we put it in the production system from production to supply chain and then to final consumer who would consume the product. So that is called the linear model of economy, where you extract stuff, then you produce or design or create products, services, then you put it in the supply chain, and then it gets to the consumer. Consumer uses it and then throws it away or wastes it. So it is called take, consume, and throw away economy. That's our current economic model. The circular economy is the complete opposite of that to say, what if we don't create any waste as we create our products? How do we create that economy? So that's where recycling, upcycling, reuse, all of these concepts come in. Now, circular economy word, and I'll explain that a little more in a detail slide later, to just tell our audience while we look at the problem of consumption, overconsumption, waste in our current economic model, let's look at the opportunity that circular economy brings to the entire world. It connects us all. The worldwide circular economy market size is expected to reach USD almost 1,900 billion to 1.3 trillion. So people often look at sustainability and waste and recycling as, oh, these are the problems in the economy. No, we are looking at a fantastic opportunity for all businesses, legacy to startups, to understand circular economy, create a business model that can generate value. At the same time, here is the contradiction. Currently, in our current economic model of production model, we are extracting 90 billion tons of natural materials from the earth for all products that we create. Only 9% is recycled, which means we are creating 92% to 91 to 92% waste that is just sitting here. And according to a UN talk that I heard, if we continue, Deepak, with our current lifestyle, if everybody follows United States consumption patterns and aspirational lifestyle, we will require 5 Earths just to dump our waste. And we
My
don't have
God.
5 hours. We have just one. So clearly, we are at a catastrophic disaster and crisis point. So these are the two important trends I wanted to share with the audience for everyone to say, how do we take this really serious challenge and problem and convert that into a great opportunity? So now coming to your question, the
Sure,
difference
ma'am.
between
Yes.
linear and circular economy. I've taken MacArthur Foundation model. A World Economic Forum also has a similar model, and the graphic is from United Nations and World Economic Forum's graphic. So in the current economy, we take materials from the earth, we make products, then we use them and we throw them away. So think of a shirt you wear, or think of a pen you take, buy. How is that pen produced? What materials went into it? What materials went into making your shirt? What chemicals were used? Take your laptop. Who makes this laptop? Where does this parts for your laptop come from? They are extracted from mines around the world. These are natural materials that are used. The batteries we need for our cars, the electric batteries people are talking about, where is it coming from? And once you use all these products, where are you throwing them out and where are they going? So these are everyday questions. As soon as we wake up, Deepak, from our coffee that we make in a machine to shirt we wear to car we drive, the computer we use in the office, to the travel that we make and go to different places and buy products, where are all these products going is a very serious question we all need to ask, because we can't make the beautiful earth our dumping ground. So because of these concerns, major global organizations, United Nations, World Trade Organization, have come up with very important alternative models that we can think about to change the way we produce things, we extract things out from earth, and the way we design brands and the way we design products and the way consumer use those products. So the whole concept of circular economy is that, one, we should start extracting less. So can we reduce extraction from nature? Because nature is not unlimited. All the materials in nature are limited. And we can't just keep wasting water and polluting water and keep wasting all the materials that we get from earth. So how do we first of all learn to reduce waste in our production process? So that means, how are we designing our products? So instead of creating more chemically driven textiles, can we go to naturally produced fibers and go to cotton and organic stuff that can be recycled, upcycled? So what is your sustainable design? So companies are looking into how to move from extracting materials to reduce those materials, to how do we design products that are more sustainable. Then in the production, what's your production facility? Are you reducing carbon there? Are you reducing CO2 production? What kind of vehicles are you using in your supply chain, in your distribution? Amazon is made a pledge to reduce completely carbon emissions and have electric vehicles, or soon I'm sure we'll have hydrogen driven vehicles. So that's the distribution part. Then when the product reaches the consumer, how can the consumer be enlightened to think of a product for reuse or for repair? I remember, Deepak, from my childhood, to give a simple example, my mother would take old saris and old fabrics in the house and make these homemade bags that we would carry to go get a Karyana store to get fresh vegetables or groceries, right? So there were
Yes.
3 bags, and then we would wash it every weekend and then keep using those bags. Today, I can't tell you how much plastic I am using in my household. When we get byproducts, comes in plastic bags. When you order food takeout, it comes in plastic containers. I have to throw it out. Even if we say we are recycling, only 10% of the plastics we are throwing out is getting recycled. So where is this plastic waste going? So consumer has to be very thoughtful. And currently now consumers are pushing businesses and brands to say, you need to now take responsibility in your products. the way you design it, the way you package them. So it's called extended producer responsibility. And these are some of the important policy decisions that governments are making. And then finally, whatever waste we are generating, where we're going to need 5 earths, who is going to pick up this waste? So how do we create waste collection system? Then sorting out the waste, and how do we manage our waste in such a way that waste again goes back into reuse? So this is why it's called a circular system, where there are 3 principles. As the slide shows, you eliminate waste and pollution in your entire product design to product distribution to consumption. You circulate products and materials for reuse. So that's what is called life cycle value of a product. So what's the shelf line of your product? Can you say that shirt can be reused, can be repurposed, and a shirt can become a nice bag? Shirt can become a nice pouch. Can we reuse instead of taking more and more materials from earth? The 90% waste we are left with, can we reuse and recycle? And then how do we restore to regenerate nature? So these are the basic principles. Does this explain how circular economy operates?
Yes, yes, ma'am. Absolutely.
Okay. So going to your next question was, how do we make all this real in our life? How do business and
Correct.
brands, right? That was one of your
Yes,
questions.
yes, yes, ma'am.
So this is a very interesting example I just read this morning about a firm based in Bangalore. It's a social impact business that works with rag pickers of people who work on streets. Seva, Self-Employed Women's Association, started by Ila Bhatt, also did the same work, and they continue to do amazing work in terms of supporting our street folks who are in the informal economy, and millions of people work this way in India. So this is why sustainability is very important in terms of human sustainability, societal sustainability, organizational sustainability, and environmental sustainability. So when I say sustainability, Deepak, we are thinking about earth and environmental sustainability, human and societal sustainability, and organizational and business and product sustainability. Only when we think in this integrated way, a business can succeed to change the world. And we want businesses to be change makers. We want business leaders to teach us how to create better economic systems and people in society. So this is the example. H&M, everybody knows H&M, huge company, criticized big time for the way they use fast fashion. So they have started now talking about returning your clothes that you buy from H&M for recycling or for upcycling. So that's one concrete way. So I just came across this example that H&M is giving circular buttons, the buttons that all of us clothing that we use that has for shirts or saris or dresses. Waste pickers in India sell plastic waste recovered from the streets of Bangalore to Hasiru Dala Innovations, a social enterprise, and then they supply button manufacturers with the fair trade guaranteed plastic waste. So this is all the waste we throw out: plastic bottles, lunch boxes, plastic toys, all of that. This Bangalore impact business is collecting that with the help of our waste speakers in on streets, and that it's turned into buttons with 40% recycled plastic.
Oh,
So just
wow.
think of a simple thing as a button. When a
Yeah, yeah,
company
yeah.
like H&M takes it and uses it for its clothing, then it goes global because all global customers are buying this, right? So
Right.
this is how you scale from grassroots effort, connect
Hmm.
with a global company. So sustainability and circular economy at the heart of the economic model is collaboration across B2B businesses, B2C, right? And what I found very interesting, over 150 million of the round fasteners have already been sewn onto clothing. So these plastic buttons that are created from recycled plastic waste. Now here is the human part. The circular buttons are traceable down to the source of the waste, where it came from, what was the original plastic waste, with names of the workers who worked to pick up that waste, their salaries and their working conditions as HDI's aggregation center. And this is what now UN and Global Economic Forum, European Union, SEC in America, Indian government, they are demanding that you need to produce data to show us how are you circular. Just because I say I am a circular brand or I am a sustainable brand, consumers are not going to believe that because greenwashing is a huge issue.
Right.
So data has become very important. And how do you take that data to create stories like this is marketeer's job. So this is your link between a global circular economy opportunity, the issue of waste, consumption and consumer demands, and investors who are demanding, tell us how you are green or how you are a sustainable company, to how marketeers can become change agents through the stories they create, through campaigns they can come up with. And I'll show you examples of some phenomenal campaigns around the world that leading brands are engaging in. So is it clear that in order to be sustainable and connect with circular economy, we have to think of environment, we have to think of societal impact that businesses have, think of human beings, and think of corporate governance. How can we engage employees in our sustainability ideas? How do we engage our investors? How do we work with our B2B partners? And I'll give you a simple example of B2B partnership from Sweden, a company that is creating waste, which is orange peels. They are making, that's the juice out of oranges. They don't need the orange peel, which is sour. Another company that is making home cleaning products, organic, and makeup and other products can use that orange peel because they actually need that fragrance and they can use that. An orange peeler can be fantastic cleaning stuff. We know that. So they are now taking waste from one company and reusing that for their own product. So this is B2B collaboration that becomes very critical for companies. So I'll stop here and see if you have additional questions.
Yeah. So, ma'am, my question is, how does sustainable marketing align with the principles of the circular economy?
Okay.
And so, can you share some examples where this synergy has led to successful strategic value creation?
Yes. So let's come to that. So I just quickly wanted to show that in order to create strategic value for businesses, you have to first understand what is the broader systemic level transformation that your country needs. So let's take example of India. I just read, it was a Hindustan Times story, that India was the top polluter and waste creator in the world. And I saw this on Niti Aayog's website where it's listed as number 3. Now we have moved up as number 1 with United States and China. So these are the top 3 actually waste creators and polluters in the world, the largest economies. If you think of US, China, and United States, so these 3 countries have very serious responsibility for global change. So whatever, Deepak, you do in your business or brand, you're actually contributing to not just change for India, but change for the world. And we should have that pride and that passion and commitment that I will focus on sustainability because I'm contributing at the world level.
Right.
So the example of India, and you look at the inappropriate waste and waste disposal, starting with healthcare and medical waste. It's a huge issue. My husband is a doctor and he tells me that medical industry, the things they throw out, sometimes they don't have a choice because it's blood there and all kinds of medical patient related stuff. You have to throw it out. Question is, where does it go? What do you do with it? You use a syringe, you have to throw it out after taking the injection. So how do you do disinfectant process? So all of those questions, construction sites and waste, car and tires in automobiles and trucks, and you burn it, it creates environmental pollution. Electronic waste is the most serious issue. We all talk about AI and digital economy as a fantastic opportunity, but it's also creating huge circular economy problems because use of AI requires energy. I just read, if you use Chat GPT, it requires 4 to 5 times more energy than using Google search. I don't know, people know these important things that
True.
what we do impacts the earth and the environment. Used batteries. Where do we throw our charging devices when they get old? When old chargers don't work, where do we throw all of those things? Global warming alarms, water, soil pollution, marine litter. We are throwing things in our rivers and ocean. We are dumping things in our land. All the disease and infectious stuff that is surrounding us. COVID was a great example. Entire economy had to shift to more healthy
Yeah.
environment. And informal and formal recycling of solid waste, municipal waste. I just read in the newspaper today, Deepak, I'm in Los Angeles, that Los Angeles has launched a fantastic green recycle water supply system, which will become active in next 5 to 6 years. They're still working on it, where the wastewater that is created in households will be taken and it will purify and it will come back to us as drinking water
Oh,
so that we
insightful.
don't waste water. See, because Los Angeles has shortage of water. We were a drought region. Fortunately, due to heavy rains, maybe because of climate change, we got heavy rains, but it is essentially a drought region and it's difficult to supply drinking water in a city like Los Angeles. So the coming to your point that in order to connect this with brands and marketing, we need to think of what kind of systemic change we want to commit to at the highest level, what kind of supply chain sustainability we'll have to think about, because who is supplying raw materials to us? Are they sustainable? So, for example, if you're a textile producer, you cannot say, well, I am a green company when the material you are getting is not sustainable, it's not organic. So then you have to get into who is the farmer who is supplying cotton. Are they organic? So you have to go back in your supply chain. Where are the trucks coming from? Are they using electric vehicle or not, right? So your supply chain partnership is very critical, not easy, but it's going to be required for compliance. And then your stakeholders, investors and consumers. So looking at that, there are 5 ways businesses can focus on where to integrate circular economy and sustainability as a strategy. So this is an excellent McKinsey model I have used from McKinsey quarterly report from 2019. That strong ESG thinking and approach can one attract B2B and B2C customers who are committed to sustainability. So right there you are expanding your market, right? For B2B, B2C. By using less raw materials, you are actually addressing shortage in raw materials that is hitting every business. So there you are actually saving money. You don't have to rely on imports if you go for natural and indigenous materials. So you can achieve better access to resources through stronger community and government relations, because then government can create policies that are favorable to you, right? So connecting with all partners is your greatest top line growth related broader market expansion strategy. Because of your low energy consumption, reduce water intake, you are actually reducing the cost of energy, of buildings, electricity. So your overheads that you pay and your fixed cost both can go down. Regulatory and legal interventions, you can achieve greater strategic freedom through deregulation, because government is going to help you create better sustainable businesses. So in a way, you are creating deregulation and earn subsidies and government support by participating in solar energy or in recycling programs, where all governments want businesses to grow. So you have fantastic alternate growth model through circular economy where you can benefit from partnership, productivity uplift. You boost your employee motivations, because studies after studies, Deepak, are showing that around the world now, not just customers and investors, but even employees are looking at, where does my company stand? What is the purpose of my brand? What is the actual sustainability contribution of my brand? So employee motivation goes up when brand makes it the purpose, that is sustainability, and not just a checkbox where you just tick mark. attract talent through greater social credibility, because when you are seen, certain product, when we say Tata, a certain feeling comes,
Correct.
right? There
Yes.
are global companies also, I'll talk about Patagonia and others. There is a
Sure.
respect that communities and consumers have for these brands, and that respect matters. That's the value company is looking for and good CEOs are looking for. And finally, investment and asset optimization. Enhance investment returns by better allocating capital for the long term, more sustainable design, products, equipments, and processes, and avoid investments that may not pay off because of the longer term environmental issues, because reputational risks, Deepak, are very high.
Yeah.
So the greatest tension in circular economy is if you go for short-term benefits and create materials that are harmful to your consumers, pollute rivers through chemicals, destroy environment, in the long run, your brand name will not be respected by consumers. And there are also risks where government might shut you down, or there are regulations that you don't fulfill, same as financial audits. We have ESG audits now. So these are the major risks. So because of short-term gain focus, you might lose your long-term reputation and value. And that's where you have to very clearly think about how, in the long run, profits, reputation, and business value are all aligned. So at times businesses think that, oh, if you try to be sustainable, it's so difficult, my profits will go down. No, they won't, because your market of sustainable consumers is growing nationally, globally, locally. So ultimately, if you are either doing greenwashing or you are literally damaging people's health or earth, consumers will go away from your brand and there is competition. You want to be ahead of the competition, right? So these are some of the motivating factors. I hope this explains the question you asked.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's very interesting.
So here is the link of global circular economy, business strategy and value creation at every stage of the circular economy, and marketing. And as I said, at the heart of circular economy and customer connect, right in the middle is marketeers and brand leaders who must understand these alternate and new innovative systems and communicate to customers how you are circular. Then work with your leadership, the board, the CEOs, your finance, your technology people. So it pushes corporates to go above and across silos where the whole organization comes together and collects data that marketeers can use to create stories of impact, to talk about what the brand dimensions are of a sustainable supply chain, talk about people who participate in your supply chain. So there are three critical dimensions for marketeers that are very critical in communicating sustainability. One is the strategy at the cause marketing level and your brand purpose. So how can you take that, the brand purpose that is circular economy and sustainability, and communicate to your customers, to your investors, to your B2B partners, to the government. And if you are working in multiple countries, Indian government rules will apply, European Union rules of compliance will apply, SEC rules in United States will apply, which means you have to fulfill all of these compliance requirements. This is where your data collection and communication becomes critical, and marketeers are the experts who can help you do this. Then it's about how do you connect with your customer and make them passionate about the brand for brand loyalty. So then long-term brand loyalty comes in and customer connect comes in. So how do you use generative AI and data that you have to create the best brand campaigns where all the customers absolutely feel connected in their life cycle of products that they use and become your loyal customers. So customer loyalty becomes critical. And third is, how do you bring creativity to data? So you need your brand communicators and marketeers to be best creative minds. And this is what Micah in India does so well. to bring the art and science of
Yes.
marketing together, the
Correct.
data and the creative aspects. And then ultimately, instead of just saying, because my customer is demanding, I will do it, can you change customer behavior? Can you become a partner with Indian government or US government or government in Germany or South Africa, wherever you are, and help your government make the nation a sustainable brand? Because nation is also a brand, as we all know. And the reason why I keep saying data and regulations and compliance, just to give an example, look at the number of compliance and policies have come in where you have to comply with different kinds of environmental protection law, corporate responsibility laws, European sustainability standards, United States SEC standards, Indian government's policies for digital personal data protection bill, right? So all of these different regulations have to be understood, mastered, data to be collected at every stage of your production system to marketing, and then communicate that to consumer. So it is a difficult task. And this is where sometimes I think startups have an advantage over legacy companies because startups can make this their DNA from the beginning and use AI for data collection better. So many legacy companies who are sustainable or trying to be sustainable struggle with lack of technological capability or AI capability to collect data and share data in a very usable form for companies. So these are my last two slides, Deepak, to give you examples. So
Sure.
globally, these are leaders in sustainable brand communication. So Unilever is always ranked very high. They have the vision to make sustainable living commonplace, means everybody should follow the principle of sustainable living through Unilever products. And their slogan, brand slogan is doing well by doing good for society and for the planet. See how catchy and simple the slogans
Yes.
can be. And this is where marketeers come in.
Yes.
Patagonia, you had asked me example of a company that has used sustainability and has scaled up. So that's Patagonia, ranked very high. Their vision is to build the best product. They do sporting goods and fashion clothing. Build the best product, cause no unnecessary harm, use business to inspire and implement solutions to the environmental crisis. So they are a business, but their vision and mission is to address environmental crisis. And the slogan is, we are in business to save our home planet, period. People say business and environment are separate. Business and sustainability are separate. Patagonia is saying, no, sustainability and home planet is our business.
Right.
Business can be separate from society. So see how beautifully they have articulated vision and strategy and then actually implement. Tesla's vision is to create the most compelling car company of the 21st century by driving world's transition to electric vehicles. So they want to be change makers, change champions to make the world drive, but drive safe, drive better, sustainable electric vehicles, and I'm sure hydrogen driven vehicles are coming in as well. Their slogan is accelerating the world's transition to sustainable energy. So they are a believer in transformation of the world and transition. Danone is a very well known One Planet, One Health company providing health services. Bring health through food to as many people as possible while protecting the planet. So safety in our food, the spices we use, are they chemically mixed or are they natural spices? Because it directly goes in our bodies, right? So
Right.
these are direct connects that marketeers will have to understand. Their slogan is one planet, one health.
Wow.
Everybody should be healthy.
Superb.
And IKEA, as you know, vision to create a better everyday life for the many people. Slogan is democratic design for a better everyday life. So they are saying design itself is sustainability. So everything
Yes.
they design, and I'm sure you have seen IKEA and
Yeah.
used IKEA models. So do you want me to ask any additional questions? These are some global examples.
Yeah. Could you please share some of the examples from the Indian context?
Yes. I got it from the internet,
Sure.
my disclosure. But when I asked India's most sustainable companies, these companies came up, and you know the reason because you are in India. Why, right? Wipro, ITC, Infosys, HUL, Mahindra Group, Hindalco, Marico, Tata Consultancy Service, Tata Power. And I just saw Tata's beautiful ad about how to protect our environment and heat. And they said the only thing that is hot should be our tea and not our environment. And I thought it's
Yes.
such a beautiful way. So these are some of the marketing examples that I thought I will share with you. And I can give you other examples as well. But go ahead if you have any specific questions.
Yeah. Would you like to keep the slides or do you have to
I
switch
can take
over?
the slide down now if you
Yeah.
want.
Yeah, please.
Okay, here we go.
Excellent. Uh,
Can you see me?
yes, I can see you, ma'am.
All right.
Yeah. So what role does innovation play in driving both the circular economy and sustainable marketing? Can you provide some examples of innovative strategies or products that have achieved sustainable success?
Yes, and I will actually give examples of some startups. One, I showed you how a Bangalore-based startup and social impact business is working with H&M, a global company, right? So the most important aspect of any business innovation for circularity is who can you partner with for the innovation that you believe in, right? So any innovation begins with creative idea that is in the company, wherever it comes from. And that's why engaging employees is very critical in sustainability ideas for brands and products, apart from engaging even consumers. So you start with the idea to then go to design level. And that's where IKEA comes in, where designing furniture from sustainable materials and create a design that engages consumers to reuse that entire principle itself. And if you see IKEA stores design, so now it also is about retail space design, right? It's an experience. And we are moving to experiential economy where consumers, yes, are aspirational. They want unique products. The greatest innovation is, can you create an experience so that your consumer is excited about getting your product? So now instead of just selling products or services, creating experiences for your consumer is becoming very important. I'll give you a simple example. Seva, a few years ago, I was engaged with them, wanted to create genuine local community living experiences for tourists, all of them who come to India. So can you partner with any existing hotel chain and then take your tourists to understand genuine Indian communities in villages, artisan communities, agriculture communities? This is India's beauty, the diversity of India. Can we connect global tourists who are also brand leaders and consumers and producers? Can we take all of them and connect them with our culture? So that's an innovation, that you rethink the whole concept of tourism, whole concept of how we sell brands. So as people come to these different communities, they are also going to learn about crafts in those communities. And India has world's best handlooms, handcrafted, beautiful, we all know,
Yes.
textiles, spices,
Especially
and
from Rajasthan Emporium and other parts of
Rajasthan,
the
Kutch, right? All of
right.
Gujarat,
Yes.
beautiful traditions. So, can we then think of these experiences, convert them into connections with locally created, locally sourced, locally made brands? And United States can think of the same thing for beautiful maple syrup that Vermont produces, which is the best. Canada is known for its maple syrup. So, using our natural products without contaminating it, can we create healthy food products? Because that's what consumers would want. And we want, Deepak, for the next generation and for our own children. We want a better planet that is healthy. We want them to breathe better air. So my point is, look at our surroundings. All problems are there: polluted air, waste, unsustainable production systems, overconsumption. How do we solve that as parents? How do we solve that as business leaders? How can we solve that as consumers? So, if stakeholders, all of us as stakeholders take responsibility, then innovation occurs. So, that is at the idea and design level. Then, next level of innovation is look at your supply chain. Can you work with? So, I'm serving as a consultant for a Mars and Gates Foundation supported project that is managed by Institute in Washington, D.C. They focus on sustainability impact. They just help different actors and businesses measure your sustainable production, because you have to tell the world, how am I proving I am sustainable? So they help you assess and evaluate. So they create frameworks and data and then translate that into reports that you have to submit. What Mars is doing is, because they use mint in their chocolates or in their biscuits, in their food products, they need millions of tons of supply kgs or billions of pounds of mint for that final product that goes to the consumer. Mint supply after COVID and because of drought regions, especially in India, needs help. The agriculture issues impact the farmer in the supply chain needs help. So the question is, why should Mars, who is selling chocolates, help the farmers? But Mars has made it its mission to help farmers, especially women farmers who come from very poor regions in UP state, to make them more knowledgeable about how to make your produce organic, how to make your farms less water resistant so that you don't have to keep using so much water, so become more water resistant in terms of using sustainable ways of producing, understanding how to use AI and technology for the middle person who buys your mint. So that entire supply chain of growing mint to producing mint to supplying mint, going to the market and coming to an international business, right? So they are looking at entire supply chain and helping everyone. What can we do to help you finance your agriculture? How can we bring you organic inputs for the agriculture? How can we bring better transportation and vehicles? So these are some of the interesting supply chain innovations that become so critical to make your business more sustainable. And this is why governments are saying, don't just report you are sustainable. Tell us how you're empowering your supply chain partners to become sustainable. And then the final frontier in innovation is your consumers. How can you innovate in your brand communication, in your brand marketing, so that the consumers become part of your innovation and consumers bring ideas? Don't underestimate. Today, brand design, brand production, and marketing, it's co-creation with consumers. So your marketing strategy, your sustainability strategy should not look at consumer as the end user, look at them as co-creators. And through social networks and platforms, consumers are constantly monitoring what's happening to the brand. So those are some of the ideas I wanted to share with you.
Very insightful and very interesting, Professor Preeti Shroff. Uh, what are the main challenges companies face when they transition to a circular economy model, and how can these challenges be effectively addressed?
I'm so glad you're asking this question, but at the end, Deepak, because
No
I wanted
problem.
to make the presentation very hopeful and exciting.
Yes, yes.
Clearly, there are very complicated aspects to transition to circular economy, and it's not simple. But this is the question of, do we want to live a healthy life, or do we want to live unhealthy life and die early? Literally. I was reading that in Delhi, because of the agriculture pollution, the air is so polluted, as you know, Now, by definition, a mother who is pregnant, that child in the womb will have 1 to 2 years less just because of the polluted air that the mother is inhaling, apart from the lungs and what happens to the mother herself, right? So this is the crisis. And that's why we can't take short-term, quick solutions to say, I don't care, I just want to make money. No, we can't say that anymore. It's very irresponsible. So that's why we need to think about how do we create. First of all, I think the question goes back to value. How do we create value? So how do we define value? And that's why I put the term value in the title of this talk.
Yes.
Value is not just profits or money. Today, we are talking about shared value. Because you are located as a company in Ahmedabad or in Bangalore or in Washington, D.C., or in Melbourne, whatever city where you are, or in anywhere in South Africa or Kenya or Middle East, you owe a lot to that city where you are because you are profiting by being there. So that is called profit sharing and value sharing. How are you helping communities in that city? How are you helping workers who come to you from that city or other cities, right? How are you connecting with children in those communities? So brands can't just say, companies can't just say, oh, we are corporates, we just make profits. No, you can't, because the definition of profit and value is shifting. So it's that social impact, societal impact, human service. Gandhiji called it our global duty, right? So what is that duty that we must remember as a citizen? And every corporate is also a citizen because you're benefiting from the government. You're
Yes.
benefiting from natural resources of the planet and that country. You're benefiting from the labor of people. So you absolutely owe it to all of these stakeholders. So keeping that in mind, we have to find ways to innovate, to say, how do I generate maximum value for environmental impact, positive, human impact, to connect with people who are connected with my brand, with my employees and workers, and ultimately, how do I govern better, right? So if you think in this way, and I'll give you a concrete example. I have a very good professional colleague and friend, Sarah Angold in London, and she has launched a company recently in collaboration with an Indian engineer. So it's professional from London collaborating with a professional from India. They are creating world-class organic sustainable fabric for beautiful designs, fashion, and they're going to be a fashion company and fashion brand using banana plant waste. Now, she told me, I didn't know this. How many people know that banana plant gives banana only once in its entire life cycle? So that tree is useless in terms of you are not going to get fruits.
Right.
And those trees are cut and then new trees keep growing. So imagine millions of banana trees are cut and the waste is just there. So they are taking banana plant waste, these trees and leaves. They have come up with new engineering process to take this waste, process it into beautiful natural fiber, then create textile out of it with using natural colors and dyes from flowers and fruits. They are using amazing indigenous design concepts with designers, and they have created most beautiful fashion brand. It's called FIBA, FIIBA. So
Wow.
it's about fibers. So
Yeah.
this is an example of innovation. You asked me, and from the beginning, the design and idea of the brand is about using this natural waste and creating most beautiful global fashion design. And I think India can be way ahead given our cotton production. We are already the champions and leaders in that. We export cotton,
Yes.
natural organic uh, textiles. We have beautiful textile design traditions. We have artisans, we have craftspeople. Bring all of that together and India will be a leader in fashion industry. around the world. So that's my example to you.
Yeah, very nice. Professor, how do consumer perceptions of sustainability influence the adoption of circular economy practices?
So this is where we need your marketeers. Now connect with because we need folks who can understand business innovations and give the CEO the ability to collect data of how exactly are we doing this for a particular brand, and then how we are converting that data into beautiful storytelling that consumers can understand. So brands have a role to become educators for consumers through stories. And I think Amul in India is a great example of catchy stories and captions they come up with for every
Yes,
major event, right?
yes,
That happens in India. So can we take those kind of great campaigns and models to now talk about circular economy and sustainability and connect with our consumers?
yeah,
The other side of that is it's because of the industrial economy model we have created overconsumption as a norm in our society. Purchase, 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 buy, buy, buy. There's aspirational culture where I want the new brand shoes, I want the new brand TV, I want the new brand television, without thinking, why do we need, first of all, so many products? Can we reduce consumption? So if consumers demand that one, I'm not just going to buy harmful products, there'll be tremendous pressure on businesses. So that's a behavior change. We call it in academics nudge theory. How can we nudge our consumers to behave differently and buy our products over any other product? So how do you create messaging where their behavior will change? So behavioral science and behavior change is becoming very important for corporates and in academia, the way we look at marketing theories and models. And then the final point is, because I'm in education field, how can we collaborate with educators, with education institutions to teach our children to understand better how to live sustainable, organic, healthy life so that children go home and tell parents, let's not use electricity for 1 hour today. I remember my daughter was in fifth grade. Now she's, of course, a grown up. She came back from school and said it was a Wednesday, and she said, I'm going to turn off all the lights in the house for an hour. I'm like, what are you talking about? She said, it's our school campaign. We are going to save energy. There's sunset happening, there's enough light. Let's not switch on lights today, and we'll sit outside in moonlight and we
very
will enjoy
nice.
the moon. It was full moon. You know, Deepak, a teacher in school just gave this as a project. See the impact.
Yes,
And then I talked to my family members, and then we all said, we all will do it. Her project, all of us will do it. And see the impact on the planet. When,
it's
let's
a
say,
real influence actually.
right, it's scaling up.
Yeah,
Imagine if entire Ahmedabad shuts down voluntarily. This is about behavior. And says, every Saturday evening, we'll sit under the stars and we will sit together, eat food without electricity. And I think it'll be beautiful, romantic experience as well
yes,
for the
yes,
whole family. And instead of
very
I
nice.
was reading, there is a company that is encouraging that if you come in the meetings and if you don't use your phone for 1 hour, you get points for
Wow,
your empathy performance. See how you can
wow,
convert
superb.
simple habitual change. In Europe, there are cafes now, I think in Amsterdam, where you just go there. It's called human cafes. No phones, no technology. You go there, you meet each other, and you read each other as books. You talk. So you and I can talk about our lives, and I can learn from your profession. So these are human libraries where people just sit there with each other and interact. So these are some of the important behavior change innovations. And I'm sure brands can think of, can they create such events where consumers will be so excited to come to your events? I'll give you the last example because I think we have to close soon, right?
Yeah, so I have a last question.
Before that,
Yeah,
allow me.
sure.
Many, many years ago, almost, I think it was 12 to 13 years ago, I went to China to plan a faculty exchange from MICA to Chinese universities on technology, because China, as we all know, is way ahead when it comes to technology innovations. And they asked me, would you like to go see an automobile company? I won't take the name, very luxury car company, and then new showroom. So I'm like, oh, it'll be interesting. Let's go see car models and what is China interested in? No, so it was in Beijing. So I was expecting car models and fancy salespeople and different color cars, etc. We went there, 3,000 square feet of space, not a single car. That was their showroom. You know what it was, Deepak? It was their event space for bringing millennials and Gen Zs for music festivals, for food festivals, for technology festivals. And they had kept screens all around to show cars on screen where you can take your mobile phone and then scan and say, oh, okay, let me see now. This company, by the way, also makes cars.
Wow.
While enjoying my music concert, while enjoying food festival, experiencing an event. By the way, I might also purchase a car because I'm looking for a car, or I'm becoming aware of their new hydrogen driven or electric car models, EV models. So these are some of the ways I think there is an incredible opportunity to engage businesses, brands, and consumers with each other, especially with technology platforms.
Professor Shroff, my last question. We are excited to hear about your upcoming book, Global and Digital Governance Crossroads, is about to hit the shelves. So could you share with us a quick overview of the book and why it holds significance in the current market landscape?
So book has already come out in the US and European markets and selling quite
Very
well.
nice. Congratulations, ma'am.
Thank you so much. So this is actually I'm a co-editor with Professor Jagdish Sheth, the
Wow.
guru of
Wow.
marketing. So just that experience of working with him.
I can sense your happiness.
Yes, you should be very jealous, Deepak, about this. Then I
I would be
worked with.
happy if you can connect with me
Yes,
for my
of course.
channel.
I will. I will talk to him.
Thank you,
I'll
ma'am.
try my best.
Sure,
I
ma'am.
also worked with John Garrison.
Sure.
He's in the World Bank in Washington, D.C.,
Wow.
and Professor Shailendra Raj Mehta, the former president and
Yeah,
director of
yeah,
MICA.
yeah.
The idea had come up originally when I launched a course at MICA about global transformations and governance. How do we govern in the digital age? Do we have old bureaucratic organizations and large systems with digital and AI? How do we create co-governance with stakeholders? So we were looking at all that, sustainability governance, all these new concepts of governance in digital world, in a sustainable world, in an interconnected global world. And then COVID hit us. So at that point, Professor Sheth and I started talking that COVID governance was such a crisis for every country. So even countries who say we are advanced, for them, it was not easy to manage COVID. So a health crisis actually challenged our governments and our governing systems. So then we said, what should be the post-COVID form of resilient governance, digital and AI form of governance, and sustainability governance? So that's what the book addresses by looking at different countries. We have contributions, 32 chapters from different authors from around the world. And there are 6 sections quickly. International governance in a digital and technology driven era. How do we come together as a global community? And what should UN look like? What should World Trade Organization look like? How do we govern globally? Then we have corporate governance section. We have education governance because, education governance is a huge issue everywhere.
Right.
We have community and sustainability governance. And finally, we have digital and creative governance, which is the most important consideration. How can we
Yes.
bring creativity in our digital world governance? Then Professor Sheth added a very important section, faith-based governance. As you know, faith has gone global. Jainism, he's a Jain. Jainism is practiced all over the world. Hinduism is practiced all over the world. Christianity is practiced all over the world. Islam is practiced all over the world. So Sikhism is practiced all over the world. So now faith has gone global and uses technology to connect with stakeholders. So the second half of the title is Stakeholder-Centered Governance for Global Management and for Democratization. So I'm very glad that this book has come out, and it will be useful to corporate leaders, useful to brands, useful to education institutions, to students and brand leaders, and then community leaders. So I hope to launch the book soon in India at MICA, of course, because they supported the book. I'm going to China and Morocco soon at conferences. So there will be global launches as well. But thank you for asking about the book.
Yeah, welcome, ma'am. Thank you, Professor Preeti Shroff, for being our guest on today's podcast and for sharing your valuable insights on one of the most cutting-edge topics of our time. We truly appreciate your time and expertise. Thank you again and have a fantastic day ahead. Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Deepak. And I wish you the best for all your podcasts. You're doing a wonderful job. And I truly acknowledge your hard work and your innovation to bring global voices so we can learn from each other. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Bye.